This video today is really for Tiffany and anyone else who's kind of wondering how they can start with some of these awesome ideas with where they're at. I've had to do this many times. We've moved at different time periods in our life, and I think there are a few things you can do so that you can just get started and get your focus going. And really, I don't believe there's any such thing as time wasted. I feel like every experience you've had so far in your life has been to the benefit or detriment, well, benefit of your children or the detriment so they can learn from it. There's no such thing as long-term failure unless you give up. So I would suggest you just take a deep breath and take some of these ideas from here today and move forward. Because tomorrow really is another day, and I've seen our family overcome huge emotional and relationship struggles to come to a place where it is very awesome today for the most part. We still have our struggles, and I know there will be some ahead. But here are some things you can do to move forward today and take action today in setting forth that plan. So the first thing you want to do is, Tova, when she saw me outlining these things we were going to talk about today, she thought about a Taylor Swift song. Because I got a blank page, baby, and I'll write your name. And that is really where you start. Oliver DeMille and Rachel DeMille, in the most recent time I heard them speak, they talked about something called the blank page and the power of the blank page in assessing the needs of your children. Now, they have this really great process where you go through and you sit down, you write the name at the top, and you spend 15 minutes talking about that child, or writing down about that child, what they need, just brainstorm, just don't think about anything else, just think that child and what does that child need. And then what you do afterwards, you're supposed to go and sit down with that child and ask them their opinion about what they need, and then you compare the two of them, and that's how you move forward with your plans for that week. That is an awesome idea, and I really did it like 2 times, 15 minutes each, and 15 times 10 is 150 minutes. And so that's not even including my baby, because they said to do it with all of your children. And so it was awesome, and you should do that periodically. I would think whenever you're really stuck, I would take the time to go and just either take them one at a time, because you might, by the time with mine, I got to the end, I'm kind of, or if you can find a really inspiring spot, you can sit and do it for hours. So just think of that huge exercise at least as something to just do once. You know, if it's a huge hurdle thing of doing it every week like they suggest, do it at least once. And so I did it a few times in a row, and it really helped me to shape, you know, where is my child at, and what do they really need. I think we have a lot of voices that kind of clamor in for our attention of what our children need. And when you're alone there with God or your inspiration, whatever you want to call it, when you're there with, I'm just going to call it God because that's what it is to me. When you're there with God talking about your child, He will open your mind to not only what they need, but also where you're doing things right. And I think that is so important as you're moving forward with your child. So take a blank page, and you literally just take a page, you know, and then write down their name, and then just random ideas. I don't do well with lists, and so I'll just kind of like randomly do things if I'm doing a whole page, because I want to fill up the page fast. It's something psychological to me. However, realistically, this is what I've kind of gotten to. And sometimes I don't have the chance. They suggest me on Sunday each week. And sometimes I don't take the time on Sunday to do that. So what I'll do is I'll use my reflection time after a devotional or something. If I know that I haven't done it that week, then I will go ahead and I'll do my blank page during devotional. Now let me show you some realistic examples of this. So I don't know how well you can see this. Hopefully you can see an example of it. You can see at least some of the kids there. Let's see, maybe that will help. Okay, so you have, you see, you know, Drew, we have multiplication and painless grammar. We have Hiram read Lord of the Rings to him and engineering stuff for his scouts. Lily, beautiful girlhood, and math. And that was just a quick one. I'm like, Heavenly Father, show me exactly what I need right now for these kids. I'm kind of in a hurry. And I had them all. And one, Eli, says, good. Got it. He's the baby. Okay, so that's what I felt like that time. Let me show you another one. I hope these again are showing up. I'm going to go ahead and take this thing off here and show you so I can make sure it's showing up. Oh, watch out. Sorry, you're probably getting all wobbly there, but I think it's worth it. I want to make sure you can see these. Okay. So we have Tova. Read her story, TB skin test, consistent schedule for her. Like, we needed a consistent schedule for her. Okay, at that time I was talking about admissions, you know, tests he needed to do. That's what I had for that hymn. Drew needed support, love, consistency, and games. All right, Lily, beautiful girlhood, art, horseback riding, call about something, support. with kittens. Oh, she had a kitten at that point. Okay, Hiram, Quinn's there, you know. We have Piper, work together, love and courage. We have Zai, my 3-year-old, calm time together. So that one was a really quick one also. Here's one that's a little more extensive. I'll show you. I did another time. Support, games, love, appreciation, read story. Actually, you see this consistency. I probably didn't read the story before. Cal, play chess, hugs. I'm not sure what that other one means. Hopefully it meant something. Movies, love, art, piano, appreciation, stillness. Drew, look into his eyes, secret service, bathroom, laugh, duty to God, express thanks. You know, Lily, read together, gentleness, piano lesson. You know, you see a lot of these, that what they need from me really is support and space. We have our classes that we do, and my classes have really become pretty inspiring to them because I'm so excited about them. And I have them whether they're there or not, and we have a lot of fun. So there you go, the baby. Here we go. Call him Gideon. No, I don't really, but I try to. Love. Zai, we want to read and snuggle and build with cars. Isaac's my baby in heaven. To remember him, okay? And then I kind of went through, and I had in here, can't remember what the S and the W meant. Oh, Sunday and weekday. I kind of went through these different things that I had on there, and I kind of found the things that were common, and I put them on the list. Okay, so if you do this, I mean, this only takes about 20 minutes. I know, 20 minutes, but it's worth it to sit there. And like I said, sometimes I just do it for devotional. So let me hurry and see, make sure this is the right spot again. So I go around here. Oh yeah, I think that'll work. Well, over a little bit more. Here we go. So anyway, the blank page is powerful. The blank page is kind of your recentering point, your refocus point. What you want to do though from where you're at right now is to do that blank page and just do everything. I did that in the context of knowing there's already a structure in place. So what I would do is I would do a blank page for everyone, including yourself. Blank page for yourself. Where am I at my education? Remember that your job as a mentor is to inspire, which means to breathe life into. And I think that's a beautiful image when you talk about inspiring. And you can't breathe life into someone unless you're breathing into yourself. You have to take a breath in first before you can give breath to someone else. And that's so important. And I'm not talking about you, not them, exclusion, stay away. I'm setting here. It's come along with me. That's how I see inspire in the Thomas Jefferson education approach to my home. I say, come along with me for the ride. I'm excited about learning about these things. How can I make it exciting for you? But basically, we're going to do that. So, oh, he stopped the video. Okay, well, my 3-year-old's going to go out to go find something else. That was my way of, go ask Daddy, okay? Anyway, so let's go to the next thing. Okay, follow inspiration. Okay, write down that page. Don't be afraid to just follow the inspiration on that page. So I'm not sure how long I've taken so far. I'm going to try to be pretty succinct and brief with these other ones because I think they're pretty straight to the point. It'll take a long time for you to do it, but I can explain it in a short period of time. So first of all, you have your blank page, and then you say, okay, I have their lives. What do I want them to come away with? And I've done this just periodically, not even once a year with my children, but what do I want them to come away from my home with? And for me, I was very specific. I said I want them to be able to discuss the classic. I want them to be able to do at least basic math. They can learn more if they need to. It takes about 80 hours to really understand math, 80 hours of solid study. So I see my kids, when they really want to, they push themselves, and they've done a Saxon book a month. And when they feel like it's important. Now, it doesn't mean I ignore it. That's part of my inspired part. But as far as what I feel like is the bottom line of what I want them to come away with, because I need that bottom line. So what do I want them to come away with? So for me, it was be able to discuss and intelligently understand classics. So understand, I should write all this out, I'm going to write classics here in the interest of time. So classics, I felt that's important for part of the conversation of life. I want them to be able to make connections.
What?
I want them to have a love of learning.
What slime?
Okay, and basic math. Okay, because I think that's important. So as you look at this, this is not a lot, and obviously I do a lot more than that. And basic skills to succeed.
What slime?
Okay, you have to ask Daddy. Okay, there you go. Basic skills to succeed. So what you want to do is then go ask Tova or ask someone else, okay? This is reality. Woo-hoo-hoo. This is our life. Okay, so that's what really matters. Okay, so you look at that. Okay, this is what I want them to have. I took that from life, so there's my list, and you can pause it and write it down. So that was life. Then you want to start with, okay, that's their lives. I want them to come away with that in the end. Oh, spiritual connection with God. I mean, there's some other things that you determine for yourself. That's the point. What's important to you. Okay, with the year. Okay, what I decide with each year is a basic overview in different areas. Remember the core and crust of leadership? I kind of think about what basic things do I want them to learn over the year, recognizing that they have, I don't know how many years with me, and even if they haven't been doing this method the whole time, trusting that as I patiently do it this year, they'll get what they need. I mean, really, who graduates from high school knowing everything about history? Who graduates from high school knowing everything about science? Not, and then you expect your child to have all of everything before they graduate? That's unrealistic. And most people, if they have had that kind of comprehensive education, it's been forced into them, or so force-fed into them, that by the time they come away with it, they don't remember it and they don't love it, and it's not really there for them. So start with where you're at, and remember that. Be easier on yourself, and trust that they'll really get what they need to. You'll find that as you're thinking about the year, just kind of let the ideas mull around in your head for about a week. Okay, start brainstorming and writing down ideas, like what do you want for science? Which category do you want to learn in science that year? Which one do you want to learn for history? I like to divide my history into 4-year cycles. I find that that's easier. So what I'll do is I will do the first year is ancient history, which is just fun. It's about beginnings, and I'll go into these in other movies or other videos. I'll write this on here, and how I organize and make connections through these years between science and history. And then the second one, I like to do more the medieval, because you can't forget that, although I can forget how to spell it, to the Renaissance. Then I like to do, and really kind of cover the Renaissance in that, because what I like to do next is really focus on the time between the Renaissance, because the Renaissance itself can really be pretty comprehensive, just a big chunk to look at. Time of the Renaissance to American Revolution, because to me that's really a pivot point in history where you have people taking many ideas and building on this past and doing something with it and trying to create a society. It's a very important period to look at this experiment in freedom and how we can create that. So you could even take the whole year just learning about the American Revolution and the Constitution and things that go with it. Then the fourth one, I do basically Civil War, briefly bridging that gap, war to modern history. Okay, just for the record, in all my years of homeschooling, I've never studied this period before. Don't think that just because I say this, that this is perfect. I started with Tova, and we did this, and by the time we started Vanguard again, we ended up doing this, because we hadn't really done it very efficiently before. So really, just start where you're at. Start with where you're excited about. Start where your gaps are. I don't know. I always felt like I was really deficient in modern history. I want to learn more about it. I've started ancient history, I don't know how many times. It's a good starting place. It's fun. Build pyramids, dig in sand, learn about the ancient peoples. I mean, it's really fun. And modern history can be overwhelming. And so sometimes it's hard to jump into that first thing. But I feel like I know ancient history, at least I love it. I don't know how much I really know about it, but I do that. So look at that and look at your cycles you want for your year. So this year I knew modern history, and I kind of had that prayer in my heart. This is what I want to do this year. And the beautiful thing is you will come across books or things that you're inspired by. I have what we use. I find books that inspire me, that are interesting to me, that I don't have to drag myself through to read. Because I guarantee that if I have to force myself to read it, and my kids have to force themselves to read it, unless they're really into scholar phase, they're not going to read it. Or honestly be interested in what you're saying. I like to have books that, I don't care, Story of the World, they're fantastic books. I don't care what age you are. What high schooler knows about all the stories that are in the Story of the World? Who cares how simplistic it is? If they can know those stories and love those stories, even at a high school level, they're coming away with a lot more than what I came away with. And I went to Yale, and I didn't know all this about history, about these awesome people, the lives they lived, and what they thought about. I think it's just, so even books, don't be afraid of simplicity. Simplicity can be really powerful, and it's attainable for anybody. You can read through the story beforehand, think, this is cool. Think through the different the different learning styles. Think, how could I teach this? Let's see, my child's really hands-on. How can you incorporate Legos into this? I think that a lot. How can we build something that has to do with this? Or how can we draw something that has to do with this? Because my kids are very kinesthetic, hands-on visual learners. How can we act this out? I have a very simple rotation of activities that just look different because you're talking about different time periods. So don't be overwhelmed with the possibilities out there. You'll find they're just basically dressed up versions of the different learning styles. So kind of keep the learning styles in the back of your head. Anyway, going back to the year, sorry, get ahead of myself. So think about what science you want to learn, what history you want to learn. Math is a little more specific with individuals, and so what I might do, and I'm not very math, just leave it for later. Math is just challenging to kindle it in yourself, let alone other people. So what I'll do is I'll find science. So this year we picked anatomy to cover this year. And so we haven't. I went through the year and I broke it up and said, well, how many do I need to do a week in order to cover it in the year? Great, this is it. Great, let's do that. I also give allowances for if we have a week that this doesn't happen. Like this week, I felt inspired that we should talk about nutrition instead. And so, because we're talking about our body, but we had only focused on nutrition and good portions, things like that. And so we did that this week for science. But I know that I have a couple more weeks an allowance that I'm going to finish before April with this book, so I know that I can take that time to do it. So we do that. So and if you think about it, if they come away, especially my younger ones, they'll have gone through anatomy, biology, chemistry, and I think I do like botany and geology kind of together, or astronomy. Even if they cover it one time, which most of us, that's all we did in our education, if that, and then they go through it maybe twice,